Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, June 4th, and you are here for beginning Google session 9. This is the last session in the series, and it is on keeping company with Google Keep. June, did I say something else? Yeah, it's June 5th. Blah, blah, blah. Thanks, Eva. I will look into that later. So I was just telling someone else before, when I get all done getting all the recordings finished for the sessions, you are going to get a link to a web page that is going to show you all of the Google components. I'll see if I can get out there quickly and show it to you just so you can see it. So what it's going to look like, it's actually a link to my Google site, and it's right here. I'm gonna move you guys out of the way. Don't take it personally. You're just blocking my view. Okay, and I got a Brady bunch you up. There we go. There you are. You're going to get a web page that looks like this, and that is going to have the full Google series in here. So you'll see that it's got the pieces in place, right? I already started it. It's just not finished. It'll have the link to the video, and it will have the materials right there. So those of you that need it, you're only going to be able to have access to it if I've granted it to you, because I have you all put in by link is unlisted, but that's going to put them all in one place for you. I know a lot of people have requested that. I am doing the series again during the summer, but just for fun, Virginia decided to rename it. So don't look at it and think, "Ooh, I need to take it again." You really don't. I did a little bit of rework on the session. I wanted to give it a different name, just to kind of reflect the times. I had a huge request to do a foundational series. So that's actually what I'm going to call it. I'm calling it I think it's Foundational Google Series 101. So basically it'll say Foundational Google Series 1, and it'll have the name of it. It'll be like Crown Browser 101. So if somebody did miss some of the early sessions and you want to revisit them, you have the chance to do that. So that's just kind of what is in the plan. There's a lot more in the plan. I'm not taking any time off. I'm just taking some time off from teaching. So I'm teaching today, this session. I'm teaching Monday afternoon. I have Efficiency with Google series, and then I have one session on Friday. So those of you that have been with me for the last 10 to 12 weeks, I've taught 3 to 4 times a day. So this is a huge break that I'm taking, but it's time for me. I have to do commitments. I have to do like 250 renewals. So I'm going to be a little busy on paperwork. So it's just going to be the way it sits for a little bit. All right, so we are ready to roll. I put the link into the chat for you. I don't have somebody here to tell me that it doesn't work. And I already know, because I'm thinking I got interrupted when I started it before. So I bet you it doesn't work. You can't get to it. I don't know. It might work. Anybody not able to get into it? Ugh, my screen is just not allowing me. I really want to see the chat. Where did you get? I can't get it. Even Virginia has problems with things at times. Oh, there it is. It's just in the way. Thank you, Gina. Awesome. Fantastic. It works. Awesome. So here's the plan for the day. The plan is, first of all, I'm going to close all those tabs. I'm going to get them out of the way, close to the right. And here we go. So we're going to be comfortable with Google Keep. Most of you don't even know what it is. So this is going to be fun. And I'll tell you why I love Keep. You're going to understand how to use it, ways to use notes and reminders, and then explore ways to use Google Keep as a teacher, a student, and a human. You'll actually start backwards with it. You're going to use it as a human probably before you'll use it as a teacher. It's absolutely one of my favorite tools. I am a Post-it queen. So when I'm in my regular office, I have Post-its, but even in my books, you can see I have Post-its in my calendar. I have Post-its hanging out of things. When I came to teaching, I came with a pile of Post-its. I always tell my kids, you want to give me something for Christmas? There's a box on Amazon that's like the mystery $50 Post-it box. Like, give me that. That would be awesome. They come in all shapes and sizes, and I literally have them in all shapes and sizes, from the great big poster ones to the line ones to the little line ones to the big ones. I love Post-its, and that's really what Google Keep is. They are Post-its. Can I get your secret collection? Ooh, yes, you can, of course. Post-its on steroids. It's going to do all kinds of things, and it's going to keep digital post-its. I really love that because it allows me to organize a little bit more. So I'm actually going to go there first. We know that the way to get to it is keep.google.com. So keep, or the name of the app.google.com is how we're going to get to all of our apps. And when we come in, we see Post-it Land. So you'll see mine will start to load. You can see that I have some pieces in here that I am using for personal use, right? There's my shopping list, right? I just did that so I can actually, I kept it there so you could see it. So this is my personal account. I use it for work. I use it for personal. I use it for shopping. That's my human part of it. Love it for shopping because it's so easy to use. So the first thing I want to do is I really just want to walk through the layout of what it looks like. So this compared to this has changed a little bit, right? I didn't change the screenshot because quite honestly, nothing has really changed. It's just, it has no colored bar across the top. There's nothing different about it. So let's start. We'll start at the left. We're going to work our way across. The hamburger. Just like all hamburgers, it should give you something to do. It so totally does not. So yesterday we did calendar. Remember when we did calendar and when you clicked the hamburger and calendar, it just gave you full window view? That's what it doesn't keep, okay? It's going to give you full window view. So there is literally rhyme and reason why I teach in this order. It's because once you kind of learn some of the pieces, they all start to tie in together and you can make the connections between the apps. So keep, when I use that hamburger, is going to push it out full screen. I'm going to tend to leave it with just a sidebar, my left sidebar, excuse me. That's going to be important to me in a few minutes. So then I have the name of the app. I have a search bar. Like all things in Google, that's the power of Google, right? Google is known for its search. So let's use it for what it's worth. For example, when I click in it, and if there's something I want to look for, like a disclaimer, okay, I have this disclaimer that I have to put on every session I do in Frontline. So do you think I could remember this? Oh gosh, no. So what I did is I went in and I wrote it. There's a disclaimer. I actually have to have it written with code. So the code is down here. So it looks pretty when I put it up. I'm not looking for that every time because now I have it in a note, like a Post-it note. I can copy and paste it somewhere. Okay, so that's just a simple little trick. And that's just using the search bar. So then when I come back out, I have a refresh. That's going to be really important in a few minutes when I use my phone, because I am going to use my phone with this as well. The refresh is going to pull things through that I might be doing in a different location. Then I have different ways to view it. So I have mine up in grid style. Those of you that have been with me from almost the beginning from Drive know that I am a creature of I want to see as much stuff as possible because it makes me the most efficient. I want to see it all. I want it all like puzzle pieced together. So I can go into list view. Some of you will be like, oh yeah, that is so much easier. I have so many of them that this goes on and on forever. So I quite honestly, I want mine in grid format. Now I had a question the other day that I'm just going to address because it's pretty simple, but I think a lot of people don't understand. When we come up to the spot where I just clicked for list view, it doesn't show list view, right? This is called like the 2.0 series. And really what it's showing you is it's showing you where you can go to. So I'm in list. So you should know that you're in list. And that the other one is, the other option is grid. It doesn't show you list because you're in it. So most of the web works in that way now. And we get a little confused because I want to find the list view. And the answer is, well, you're in list view. So it doesn't make sense. The old way, and I'm going to totally date myself now, like 10 years out, right? Or quite honestly, 20, 15 years out. Wait, guys, I look better than my web camera says today. So there, that's much better. I put it up a little high. I'm looking up, that's why. Sorry, The old view was it would show you both options. It would say list and grid. So just know that that's why that's like that. It's not like magic. You didn't break it. It's not. Settings is the next one. What kind of settings can I do? There are a few things that I really do like. One is dark theme. I find dark theme is a little harder for you to see right now, so I don't use it while I'm training. I do use it at the end of days. So when I say the end of days, it sounds bad, doesn't it? The end of days. Wah, 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 wah. I mean the end of the day. My eyes are tired, so I tend to go to a black theme. And that is also why you notice up on my toolbar, it always looks different than yours. I'm always in a dark theme on my toolbar. I find as a trainer, it's much easier for you to see where I'm clicking when you can actually see the colors pop on the black. So I use the dark theme in Chrome in general, and it makes it a little easier to see. There's also, you can send feedback. This is the equivalent of the question mark in all the other apps. If I go into help, it's going to take me out, right? So there's not a lot of like, there's no cheat sheets. I'm going to look and I say, I don't think there are cheat sheets. No, there are no cheat sheets for Google Keep because once I show you this, trust me, it's pretty easy. So I am just going to, yep, that can stay there. Yep, you can get out of the way. You sure can. All right, so that's like the basics. So as we work our way down, we have the sidebar, the menu bar, and the created notes. Okay, sidebar, menu bar, created notes. So I've already really walked you through most of it, but let's walk through that sidebar so we kind of understand what's in here. So in the sidebar, you'll have not anywhere like I have, okay? Just so you know. You'll have notes. These are your notes. You can make reminders, which is awesome. So you can have a reminder like I need to do this and I need it to tell me when to do it. They're tied into calendar and mail, and we're going to look at that in a little bit. And then if you scroll down, you may have no labels. I can guarantee most of you have no labels. And if you come down to the bottom, except for maybe Allison and Stephanie, if Stephanie's in the room, they have labels. Yeah, I know my users, right? You should have an edit labels. You may have an archive and a trash. Let's talk about archiving. Just like all other archiving, I can take something and I can push it out of the way so I can't see it. It's like my filing cabinet around the corner. Okay, I still have access to it. It's just out of the way, out of sight, out of mind, right? But not like we used to think. So how you archive is it's done by labels. So see right here, I have a label. I have created all of these labels. So that's why I say you won't have this many because I'm a crazy person and I have labels for everything, right? So you'll see, I'm going to show you in a little bit how I use them as well. So this is an article that I want to read. So I put a label on it. It's like Beyonce. If you want to keep it, put a ring on it. Okay. If you want to keep it, put a label on it. So I put a label on it and want to keep it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to archive it. So I'm going to archive it. It's going to disappear out of my list. Okay. Here's another one. Here's another article. Oh, I actually went into articles to read. Didn't want me to do that. So here's one I put on that's about remote learning. So that's a brand new label for me. I haven't had that, but so I made it and I'm just going to archive it. So what you start to see is my Post-its start to move around. The goal is always to get my Post-its down to as few as possible. I keep saying that, it keeps never happening. How did I get to this? Like, how did I decide I wanted to use this? So
are your stuff still in articles to read, even though you've archived them?
Yes. So that's what I'm going to just show you. So, Carol, that's a good question. When I started in this job in May of 2015, I really quickly realized that I had to know a lot of stuff. So I'd be out looking and researching on something, and I'd find, like maybe I was looking up makerspace information. And while I was finding stuff on makerspace, I might find things on coding or choice boards or Google. And I was like, man, so I started to keep bookmarks, right? So we all do that, bookmarks over here. That gets overwhelming, right? You get too many stinking bookmarks. So, and then I learned about Keep and I'm like, ooh, so what I started to do is to copy the addresses into a Keep and pull them in here and put a label on them. So when I did that and then I archive them, they go out to a pile. So here is my articles that I want to read. And I have lots of them. I don't really have that many of them. I'm going to unpin that. So not sure where that is stuck right up there. What that does is
just a quick question. You hovered the cursor over D, capital DIGCIT. What does that stand for?
DigCit, digital citizenship.
Okay.
Yep. So when I do this, what it does is it takes me to like a repository of my articles. So for some of you, you should be thinking, ooh, Pinterest, 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 right? Your brain should be like screaming Pinterest at you right now, because that's really what these are. These are my personal boards. A lot of schools have blocked Pinterest. And I know I get a lot of frustrated teachers with that because they want access to Pinterest, but Pinterest started in what, like 2009? And actually, Pinterest was one of the first companies to create an extension. Does anybody remember the Pinterest extension? You installed it, and then when you found something you liked, you clicked your Pinterest and it asked you what board you wanted to put it on, right? Some of us used that really early. It was really one of the first extensions out there. But unfortunately, over the years, Pinterest has really gotten some crap in it, for lack of a better word. There's hackers in there. There's catfishers in there. There's all kinds of weird people in there now. So I still use it, but not for teaching. So basically what this allows me to do is when I find something, I can use it. I can come out to, what had just happened? My brain just, there it goes. I can add a piece and then I can add a label to it and then I can archive it so I have everything all together. So for example, I have, here's Google stuff, right? And I have lots of Google stuff, tons and tons of Google stuff. The other thing that I really like is that I can add 2 labels. So it's like making a piece of paper, 2 copies, and I can file it in 2 places at the same time. So that's a huge benefit to me because I can say, oh yeah, this is for extensions. And you all know that I can't spell, so forgive my God-forsaken soul. I can spell. I'm a really good speller. I just can't type. Holy crow, man, oh man, I must have typed that in a run. So I can't type, but I can spell. So I can push that out into 2 places at once. So that's very beneficial to me because I can allow myself to sub-organize things as I go. All right, so that is labels. I am going to show you how labels work, so it's not a worry. We're going to use a few. Okay, so let's go down a little further. So we talked about settings. When I go into settings over here, and I go all the way in, I have some options. So I have the ability to customize it. I can add new items to the bottom. If I click that, my stuff would go to the bottom of my list. So this is when I make a list. Do I want my new stuff to go to the bottom or do I want it to go to the top? So it pushes stuff down. That depends how you're going to use it. I typically make a list for one day. I don't reuse my lists. So, because once I'm done with it, I just throw it out. I can move checked items to the bottom. Oh yeah, it's like the equivalent for me of ripping up something. I like to do it when I get it done. I shred it. It's a very visceral, I like the sound, the touch, and the idea of that I've accomplished something. So I end up with a little pile in my desk at the end of the day, and it feels really good to throw that away. I know that's really weird, but it just feels good to know I've accomplished something. Even if it's just shredding a white piece of paper, it makes me feel good. Do I want to enable the dark theme? Display rich link previews. I don't even know what that does, my friends, so don't worry about it. You can set your reminder defaults. So you can set the times for them. Like if you're in the office at 7, you might want them at 7 or 7:30. So when I'm typically not in teaching mode, if I use reminder defaults, they come at 7:15 because I start at 7. I like them there. They can be things like, make sure you go to Frontline and you check pending approvals because I have to do all the pending approvals for districts. So I could get an email that does that, or I can use a Google Keep that sends me that every morning. The benefit of that is that it's not an email, right? It's one less thing I have to deal with. So I can have afternoon ones and sharing. You have that ability. And then you can actually share or turn off sharing. You don't have to do sharing. You can do whatever you want. Does that make sense? So I like the ability to share. I want to share my notes. Does that make sense?
Are you setting, when you set those settings, is that for every one of your posts, or is that individually that you're setting those?
Everyone, Carol, good question. Okay, so I'm going to make a new note. So we'll watch the process of me making a note. So here's the screen. You can see it says take a note. Okay, I can handle this, right? Take a note. So I'm going to title it, and it is going to be Friday, June 5th. And I'm going to take a note. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Okay, I can use this for lots of things, but that's the first thing I can do. I'm going to take the Google label off it, but I'm going to add a couple collaborators. So a couple of you are going to get the big, you're going to be in here. So because I'm going to prove to the world that I have learned how to spell Schenectady.k12.ny, and I'm going to check it now to make sure I did it right. So that's Carol. I'm going to send that. So that's Carol's going to be added as a collaborator on this. I can add more. I can add lots of people. I could add Bethany, right? Bethany White at nacs1.org. So you can see, you can just send across any email. So when you come in, you'll get a circle, and now you should have a note that will show up on your screen on your Keep. You'd have to hit the refresh button, and you'd be able to type in there, right? So I'm also, so that's a couple things that are pretty simple. I can change the color. You can tell, guys, that I really, you know what? You know why I'm writing in here? Because I went to the Google one and I was writing in the Google one. I use the colors for just, you know me, I'm going to use the colors for everything, right? So we're going to use brown today. I don't use brown very often. That's a color so I can just push things. My gosh, you guys should just, I just need to be fixed. I need to learn how to type. Okay, it's either talk or type. You don't get both. So thanks for attending. You can go through. I can make a checklist in here. I like the colors. Let me stop for a minute. I use the colors. You guys know I use color on my folders. I use colors in my calendar. I use colors in my Keep. These are more tied to my components of what I do. So they're tied to my pen colors, not my calendar colors, which it really throws some people for a loop. But for example, like my software is a certain color, like Frontline is purple, right? My to-do list is usually my poop list. So that's usually brown. So that's why it's brown, by the way. Stuff I got to get done. There's other words for that. Stuff I got to get done is brown. And I could have, I have one software that's green. I have one software that's blue. I have one software that's pink. I have one that's gray. So they're each a different color. And so if it's not colored, it's a generic thing for me. That just helps me look at them and find them quicker. Okay. I'm very visual. Even as a musician, I'm very visual and I can go through this. So I can also add pictures. So we're going to use this in a few minutes, but I can go in and add a picture, any picture that I may have on my device. So if I come out here and I'm like, okay, I'm going to add this picture in, anything I put in it pops to the top. We're going to use the picture component in a minute. I really like that. For those of you that want to use a Bitmoji in your classroom, right? But your district blocks the Bitmoji app in district. Anybody have that issue? I know some of you do, or you may have it in the near future because of Ed Law 2D. If they decide it's not compliant, I can do this. I can copy this image and I can add it in here, right? I can just paste it in and now I have it. They cannot block Keep. They can block the Bitmoji app, but what you've done is you turned your Bitmoji app into just an extension. And you guys will notice down my side, I do go to districts that block the Bitmoji app and I'm not allowed to use it. So I'm a little stinker. These are the old hair. I have them in here and I have some of my friends in here as well so that I can use them when I'm training if I'm in a district where I don't have options. You like that? Yo, isn't this funny that they still have a phone for a Bitmoji? It just cracks me up that that's there. So that's one of the options. So that's a way that you can use that for good, huh? For good. Yeah. All right. So I can add that image. Sorry. Oh, I did it again. I went to the wrong, Little fingers out of control over here. So that's a simple one, taking that note. So what if I want to come in and now I want to edit it? Dot, 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 do more stuff, right? Do more stuff. All I have to do is click on it, right? I can just click on it and it opens up, but that's always do more stuff. I have more stuff in there. Traffic light, stoplight, it's not stoplight, traffic light, snowman, dot, 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 whatever we're going to call it, all right? I could remove myself. I could add a label. So let's say I want to add a label. What if I don't have the label here that I want? Well, look at, I bet you I could just create a label right here and I could make one that's like play. So I don't have a play label. So it says create play. Okay, that'll work. Create play. And now I've put it in the play. I could also put it in teacher tools. I could put it in Bitmoji. I have the ability to pick more than one thing. And you notice that when I started to type, it starts to look for things. So if I don't want to scroll down to trainings, because we all know I'm lazy, if I just start to type in train, it will pop up and then I can click on it. Pretty easy. So it's going to make training. So now when this comes in, you see all of those pop in there right there. Pretty easy, right? Simple. Okay. Still good. I can archive it. I'm not going to archive this one. I'm going to use it for a few minutes. There's a few other things in here that I can do. Probably one of my favorites is I can show check boxes. The ultimate to-do list. Because I can create this list and I can share it with Carol and Bethany, right? I can make a list and they can go in and they can edit this list along. So, right? So if Bethany, if either one of you got in it, go in and you can add right to it, right? You can add in anything you want. So they can add to it. So when we think about sharing things with teachers, like a lot of times we have a co-teacher in the room, or we have a list of things we want to get done that we want to share with more than one person. So with my fingers crossed, I'm saying this, we will be back in the fall and we will be able to do open houses, right? Be able to do an open house with our parents. It may look a little different, but typically you have a list of things you have to do to get ready for open house. You can have your list right here for your team. You can add them as collaborators, and then you can start to check off that list of what you do. So let me start and change that to students. What if your students are working on a project and it's a really big project, right? And they need to kind of work their way through it, but they're overwhelmed with the pieces that are in here. You can create that to-do list for them and they can start, either, you can add it and add them as a collaborator, or they can make the keep and add you as a collaborator, and you can start to check off that list. I used to keep a to-do list for the end of the year. I mean, we probably all still do it, right? Get my grades done, clean my room, clean my computer, make sure I hand in my keys, make sure I give away my firstborn child, all of those things. Hold on, guys. I have to take this phone call. Hello? No, I'm training. That's why. I am. Yes, just a second. Okay, hold on. Be right there. Bye. Guys, I have to go let somebody in the front door. So this is what I want you to do. Will you quickly make a keep? And I want, yeah, I'm going to totally say this. Don't share them with me. I want you to make a keep and put a picture in. I'll be right back. Maybe more. All right, I'm back. Okay, so how'd you do? Did you make a keep? Awesome. All right, so now let's do some of the other things that you can do with Keep. All right, so I'm going to close this one.
Virginia, would you
Yes.
take a quick question? I've never done Google Keep. And when I went to I was given an option, Google Keep for desktop, Google Keep for extension, Google Keep for Windows. Is that something I should, like, which one should I pick or none of them?
Windows.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to make a new one. And I'm going to go to the dots because I'm going to use one of the other tools. I'm going to add a drawing. Brings me out to a drawing feature. Keep is so powerful. It's probably one of my favorite tools out there. So that's, like, you guys know that I like the Google stuff. I love slides, but Keep does a lot more than just the basics. So I am on just a regular laptop. I have no mouse today. So I'm just using my touchpad. And I am going to draw a flower. So no judgment. Okay, I'm drawing a little circle in here. So I am a sunflower fanatic. I'm going to do some yellow in here. I'm going to go with a little bigger leaf. And I always say to people, listen, I am also not an art major, but I'm way better at it when I use some other pieces, right? So it's not bad, not great, but it'll do. So when I use my Chromebook, it's really nice because I have a stylus and I have the ability to actually make it look nice and doesn't look quite like this. So I can come down in here and I can go down in here. So I am literally just drawing. One of the other things I can do is I can actually put squares in the background. So it has grids, it has dots, it has rules, as in ruled paper, can have none. Okay, so this is my quick little draw, very simple. I'm going to go back out and it pulls it into a Keep, right? So now it's in here. So my teachers of primary students, my teachers of special ed students, your students can now come in here and they can write in here. So do you remember the days of like kid pics? Some of you that are out there maybe, and you used to do like kid pics and you used to be able to draw a picture on the top and then you used to be able to type on the bottom, right? You'd have them open a text box. It was so powerful, especially for kindergarten kids, because they could really start, they put their words on and they could start to really, you know, create a visual that went with their writing. And that's really one of the skills we asked our kids to do on paper anyway. So there's this magic thing that Keep will do.
Virginia,
Yes?
if someone sends you a Keep, how are you notified?
It goes into your Keep, but I think you also get an email as well. Yep, Stephanie's shaking her head.
Okay.
All right. So when I come out here into Keep, I'm going to actually go to docs.new. Sorry, Kevin, do you want me to close the door? So docs.new, and you'll notice I have a sidebar, right? So I've referenced this in the past, and I've never really shown you what it's done. So here is the day when the magic occurs. You ready? I'm going to click the Keep button. And look what's in there, the stuff that I just made, right? There's my little flower, and there's me, the little angel me that is. So right here, I'm going to click these buttons, and I'm going to say add to document. And what students can do is they can draw, and then they can bring that text over into paper. Okay, so into docs. They can also, the magic of a new slide right here, they can do the same exact thing and they can pull it into a slide. There's the text behind and there's the picture. Okay, you do have to do a little bit of work to get them to separate. So they will though, I promise. So look. So think about the power of that for primary students. You literally can write books. Okay, so let me step back a little further. What about math students? How many of you are, many people are looking for a way for their students to do math on a device because they want their students to be able to draw out a math example, right? We want handwritten examples. So it's literally just a drawing, okay? And if I had my touch screen, I'd be able to just touch and draw across. They can, they can do whatever. It doesn't have to be beautiful. I mean, if you use something besides the super green, right? I could go to black and I could have a much thinner thing here. And I am literally just doing this like this. This is not amazing. That's just simple, right? But students can draw these things out. They can do a solution. They can draw these pieces out and they can pull it back in. Does that make sense? Yep, I like that. So you got blackout time for science. I love that, right? So help the student make a keep list. Keep is so great just for curation. Curation is a skill our students don't have. So here's another thing. Oh, look at that. I have all these texts. Here's another thing. There's an app for Keep. And quite honestly, and this is in the notes, I promise it's down a little further. It's one of the parts that I like the best because it allows me to have it right on my phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back out to Keep. I'm going to open my Keep on my phone. And I am going to just make a new one. I'm going to do two things first. I'm going to do this. Stay all right there. Don't move anybody because I'm going to do two things. I'm going to, actually, I'm going to go back. I'm going to do a note. I guess we'll do it this way. Oh, well, look at that. My keep just decided to crap. Okay, let's try that again. Keep note. We'll try that one more time. Oh, it likes to start at its own rate. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a photo. Maybe. There it goes. Okay. Really slow. You know me, everything's really slow right now. Wow. Okay, we're not going to do that. I can, but and I'll show you how in a minute. I'm going to let my phone decide to have its moment of badness. I have two empty notes. There we go. Does not typically do this, and I'm wondering if I should have updated it today. I did not. Take a photo. There it goes. I'm going to turn it around like this because I want a photo with you. All right. It's a photo with all your little faces. They're like this big. All right. When I do that, it's going to populate into my component. See that? That's it right there. See how fast it is? So elementary teachers who use their phones to take photos of their kids, right? Lots of us do. And then what do? Then we take the photos, we go into our photos that we have, we select them, we either move them to our drive or we email them. But if you put them into drive, if you put them into Keep, they don't go into your photos. They go to Keep. So they don't go against your storage on your phone. Not only that, you don't have pictures of kids on your phone, right? So that's like a benefit right there in itself. You still have the photos, they're just saved in Keep. And what do we typically want to do with these photos anyway? We want to share them to somebody, right? Or we want to put them into a presentation, like it might be student work. So I'm going to close this and then I'm going to open it again because I want to get the latest and greatest. And then I should be able to find the picture in here somewhere and I can just pull the picture in. So then I have the ability to pull in the pictures that I'm already using. So that's a huge benefit. Here's the next benefit. Oh, you can actually just take your photos. You want fun, guys. I'm going to send this one. Ooh, I found this morning. This is scary. Okay, post. So this will come through in a few minutes. Yeah, it's coming right there. Oh, this one will take a little bit of time. I'm going to delete that note. So I can do that. I can also do text. So what does that mean? It means that I can actually do speech to text. So when I click here and I can do this, I can open a note. So a plus note, have it open up. And I am going to just add, there's a microphone at the bottom. And as soon as I start to speak, it is going to take notes for me. I absolutely love this because it's a speech to text function that most students don't know exists, period. It is very accurate. There aren't too many problems with it. It does work much better if you speak in punctuation, period. It's very similar to the docs voice typing component that I've showed in the past, period. Don't have to speak punctuation because you can make your students go back through and they can edit it later, period. Okay, so that's going to go. I'm going to push back out. That will load in a minute. There it is. So see how quick that works? Administrators using this in a hallway, they could take a picture of something, they can add a collaborator, they can send it to someone. You can share pictures anyway. You can quickly write. There's a lot of times I do descriptions for my courses this way. I can speak it a lot faster than I can write it. You guys know that, right? I can speak way better than I can type anyway, and then I can just edit it. And it's pretty accurate because I do say cuz, right? There's cuz. I mean, want to fix that, right? It's also a really good way to teach kids how to edit. They don't love to edit, right? Editing is a rough thing for them. But if you have them just speak it through, then they can edit it. The benefit of this, reluctant readers, reluctant writers, I can almost guarantee you, like 80% of the time, they're not reluctant speakers, right? They just aren't. So they'll speak a lot, and this allows you to kind of pull that out of them. It's a really good tool. Got it from my daughter. She used it when she was in graduate school, undergrad and graduate school, and it's a great feature. Some of you have spouses that it would work really well with, right? I use it with my
microphone, Virginia. Where was that?
Only in the app.
Oh, on the phone. Okay.
It's only in the app on the phone. See, look at that now. See, that is awesome. Yay, it's your favorite. It's very simple because you can quickly do a lot. And then, so let's say I have this keep open. I take this right here, I copy it, and I go to my email, right? And I can open a new email, I can write a new email, and I can totally just paste it in there. And now it's set to go. I don't have to like reinvent the wheel. If I'm using Gmail, it'll paste right through a Gmail as well, right? Does that all make sense? Can you use the audio file in another place? I don't know. I've never tried, Luann. Probably. You'd have to save it. So that's a good question. Could I use this audio file? I don't know. Let's see. Can I save the audio file? No. I don't think so. I don't know. I want to see what happens if I pull that in here. Can I pull that audio file into, let's see what happens. I haven't tried it. I like it when somebody asks me a question I don't know the answer to. Can you just pull that in here? Can I insert it? Will it also bring the audio file in? We're going to see. Did it take it in? I don't think so. Bring the audio file in. That would be cool though, wouldn't it? It's a good way to get your students to be able to hear you talk as well, right? And if you don't want to be seen, it's a lot easier than the Notes app I was using on my phone. Oh, I like that one too. Yeah, it is. Right? I love Google Keep. Okay, so that's two things. Here's the last part. So this to me is the kicker for Keep. There's an extension. Okay? So you guys know that I have an extension habit, or at least some of you know. This girl loves her extensions. She loves them. She's addicted to them. So I'm going to go to CNN. CNN is just littered with advertisements, right? It's crazy. If you've ever been to CNN, it takes so long to load, right? I use an extension called Adblocker Plus. So you can get your district to allow you to use that. Look at it, stripped out 42 ads, right? Like that. It's really good for teachers. It also does the amazing thing of stops ads on YouTube. So when you go to do a YouTube video, the ads won't load when you're with students. It's really, and then Bethany just went, what? Right? So this is Ad Block Plus that I use, not just Ad Block. So there is an Ad Block for YouTube. There's an Ad Block Pro. There's an Ad Block Plus. They've added a lot. You want the one that'll do the most bang for your buck. So grab the one that will do web pages and YouTube. It's worth it just for YouTube because you get rid of all those inappropriate ads for your students. So you can show a video and not worry about what's going to pop up. So here's articles. And let's say I'm going to go out and I say, it's really hard to find something that's not going to drive me crazy. So I'm going to come to the bottom. Okay, here's one. Flight attendant stunned by passenger's identity. Hopefully this is like not bad. All right. So I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute. It's going to load. You're going to notice it's all going to load up. And let's say this is an article I want to read, right? I want to come back to it and I want to read it. I happen to stumble in it. Now, quite honestly, I'm probably never going to stumble into CNN. It's just a really good way for me to get you a note. But I have the Keep app right here, right? It's actually called Chrome extension or the Google Keep Chrome extension. So it's playing right now. I'm just going to stop it. Hold on. Ooh, I lost my mouse. Let me get it back. There it is. So it's right here. I am just going to stop it. I don't need to hear it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the save to keep. It's going to open it up. It's going to say, oh, you want to keep this article? And I'm going to say, yep. So it grabs a snapshot. It grabs the URL. I could take a note on it and I'm like, unknown person. I like to put a little bit of note in here. So when I come back to it later, I can find it. I can save it. Now I'm going to add my label. This is where my labels are valuable to me. Could be out on the internet and this is an article to read. And then I'm just going to close it and I can navigate away from it. So when I come back to Google Keep, it's right here. So they come to my Keep. So I like to do this with students for research purposes because we used to do index cards with our students, right? And they lose them because especially middle schoolers, like organization is not their thing. So when you have that, when students can't be organized, this is a way for them to organize themselves. So they can create one that's basically research. So they can, and I'm going to do my cheetah research now because I typically always do one research example. So I'm going to give myself 1 minute. I'm going to get where I need to be. So I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to show you an example of doing this for real research. Okay. So I won't do cheetah research today. I'm going to do remote learning research. Okay. So you don't have to watch my cheetah research. So I'm going to start to type and then I'm going to hit start. I'm 1 minute. That's all I'm going to take. Okay. Remote learning, only if I can type. Remote learning resources is what I really want to look for. I'm going to hit start. Here we go. So I'm going to start to look through. One of the things that I typically do is I teach students and teachers what's a good website. I don't want anything that starts with ad. So I'm going to scroll right past them. I'm going to come down here. Teaching remotely for grades K through 12. It's by Scholastic. I do believe that's probably something I want. Going to right click on it and I am going to save the current page to keep. Going to go to the next one. Yep, I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to go to the next one. 35 useful remote learnings from Lucky Little Learners. I'd probably look at that. Save current page to keep. Remote learning. I don't know who this National Institute for something. I don't know what it is. I'm going to keep going. 350 online learning. Yeah, I'm going to look at that. We Are Teachers. I've used that a lot. I'm going to save current page to keep. So you see they're just popping over there. So the other way that I've done this in the past is I've gone like this. I open in a new tab and then I'll come back to it in a minute. So that I'm also going to use it in there. So remote learning with Seesaw. So I slowed myself down pretty much because I didn't do it the way I normally do it. Stop. Okay. So that's 1 minute. I think I got 5 altogether. And then it would come out here and I would look at the keep and I would add the remote learning extension to it or label to it. So I'm going to come back out here. I'm going to click on it again. I'm going to click on keep and I'm going to do the extension. So one of the things when I do research this way is I'm not looking into the article. Did you notice I didn't read it at all? I just kind of went and got it. One of the things I find that we do as teachers is we don't put ourselves on time limits. We really need to do that more often. It's going to just give us a limited amount of time. And when I'm doing research on any topic, I'm always looking for quantity before quality. I want a lot of things to start with because if I just look, I may fall into a hole of just looking at one site instead of using multiple. So I always go for more stuff first and then go back through. So I have multiple articles here on remote learning. I grabbed a whole pile of them. They came through. And when I click on them, I go in here, here's one right here. So then I would go back through and I'd click on this. I'd go to this link. And here's the link that I'm into. And I can click on save to keep. So when I click on Save to Keep as an extension, I can now take notes in here. And it's going to keep all that information in one place. This I may look at the site and go, oh, this is crappy. I don't really want it. This isn't any good, right? And if that happens, I can come right down here, and I always have the option to delete the note. So what I like about doing research this way with students, for one thing, is it gets them into the process of looking past the first 3 resources on the page, which is usually ads. It gets them past the first 3 things. I typically give students 5 minutes, research in 5 minutes. I teach them that process. They watch me do it. I teach teachers this. Watch me do it. 5 minutes, I want 15 or more resources. That's a lot, right? That's a lot. 15 or more. We're not looking at them. We're just going through and grabbing them. Then we'll come through and we'll put a Save to Keep extension. So you could do this at the end of a day. And then the next day you'd come in and you'd start to go through them and you'd start to look through them. You spend 5 minutes on each one. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. That's it. Okay. So you spend 5 minutes, you do it together as a class, and they go through and they look to see what's in there. They click on it in the Google Keep, they take notes in the Keep. If it's not any good at the end of 5 minutes, they throw it out and they go to another one. Okay, they delete it. So then you're teaching them how to go through and really look through pieces. So those are simple ways to use that Keep extension. That has been a lifesaver for me. One of the other things that I've been using a little differently is I've been using Keep for my email templates. So those of you that have taken a missed session with me, you now see the magic, right? There's the magic. I take this and I copy and paste it in. So I literally just copy this right here. I copy it. The stars are where I replace information. That's how I know to do it. So that's what I replace. So I just copy this, I go into an email, I paste it, and I replace the information there. So I'm using Google Templates. Another thing that I showed a couple other teachers on how to do that I think was super valuable is to create some templates for your class. By the way, that's the picture that I found today. That is me 10 years ago. To say that I've increased, I've gotten better looking at age, well, thank God, right? Wow. I was like, oh, good Lord. I look better with blonde hair. I created some co-teaching templates. When we're in a remote situation, one of the hardest things is to be a co-teacher in a classroom because you're both trying to grade things at the same time and it's hard to keep track of who has what. So if you create this co-teaching template so you can use it for grading purposes, each time you want a new one, you just make a copy. You take the name out and name it to whatever the assignment is, and then you share the collaboration with someone and you and the co-teacher can check off as you go. Super valuable to have that piece. All right, my friends, so that is the end. Thank you for allowing me to let my former boss in the room. He was stuck outside, couldn't get in. He didn't have his badge. He's a bad boy. He forgot his badge. It's kind of funny. So thank you so much. I am going to send most of you a quick form. It'll be later in the day. It may not be till Monday. Just about ways that I can improve the session. Thank you so much. It's been really fun working with all of you. And like I said, I'll have more things in the catalog probably by the end of business day on Monday. So thanks everybody, take care. And I hope that this has been helpful. You know, you can always reach out and ask me anything you need. Thanks.